What is going on, everybody? Brick Builder here, and welcome to a brand new episode of iCraft SMP. In today's episode, we're going to be doing something pretty awesome, so if you guys do enjoy, make sure to like button and subscribe. But, as everybody might know, I have a port city on the world, and that's what my main project is on the world. I'm building a port city, but it's relatively close to spawn, so I don't have a fancy form of nether transportation necessary to get to my base. But I do want to build a nether tunnel. I want to decorate a tunnel. And there's the end, which a lot of people go to the end on the iCraft server for different things like the Ender, and to find elytras and shulker boxes, etc. But the tunnel we have for the end is really bland, it's really meh. And I'll show you in a second what I mean by that. And it's no offense to any of the iCrafters because nobody's ever decorated it. So today, I'm gonna decorate this tunnel and it's gonna look fan-flippin-tastic when I'm done, because I just think that having a nice fast portal to get through here will be really useful overall. I have a ton of different materials for this, but the first thing we need to do is we need to fix this portal. You can't have a 3-wide tunnel with a 2-wide portal. That's just gonna be annoying. So we have to fix that, and it's a relatively easy fix. You just go like this, like that, and like that. And then in the back here, we gotta get rid of this nether rack. And here's the blocks we're gonna be using out there, right in here. We got endstone, we got prismarine. Those are gonna be the big ones, because I really want to use prismarine in this world and a lot more. I think that throughout this season of Minecraft, I'm gonna try to use a lot of prismarine. But the first thing we need to do is, of course, we need to tear out the ground, because we're gonna make it really quick to get here and get from there and back. So to do that, we're going to use ice, and we're going to use packed ice since I have so much of it. Now, of course, the boat will make you go really fast, but I'm not expecting people to take a boat for this such short of a distance. But just walking on the packed ice will still be quite fast and quite useful overall. And we should have a ton of packed ice. Hopefully we brought enough. If not, I can go back to my base. If I really need to, I can go to my ice cube shop, which also sells packed ice. Because, I mean, I have so much stock of packed ice, to be honest. And that was just a shop I built, just to have another shop type setup. So we're going to go like this here, and then we're going to start filling this in with packed ice, and that should hopefully be pretty good. And if you see what I mean, I can demonstrate once we make this just big enough here to show off the gist of it. If you look at how fast you transport through this, you're going to see why. See how much faster you transport on that than you would otherwise? That's why we're using the packed ice, just because it's going to really help with efficiency and such with the actual tunnel. It's going to make it be a lot quicker to get from point A to point B, which is, form and function have to both look good. So what that means is, yes, your build has to look good, but if it doesn't function, then what's the point of building it? So you got to try to mesh the two. We do have to kill all these pigmen, and there's a fair chunk of these things. So, okay, there we go, we got them. And then we're going to cover up this entrance over here, just so anyone that tries to get in, pigment-wise, won't be able to. But then we're going to keep going with this packed ice, because, again, form and function have to coincide, which is a big thing with me. Whenever I do builds, I try to make sure that there's a purpose behind the build. And maybe the purpose isn't super practical, but as long as it's there. Like, for instance, if you're going to build a house in your town, don't just build the house just because you want to build a house. Make there be a practical point in this house. Now, I guess you could say that's sort of an opposite of what I've done with all the little low-level poverty level houses inside my port city. But those are there just to create an aesthetic, which is their function. So they do have a practical use in the grand scheme of things. But, that's my opinion there. Like, if you're going to build a machine, make sure the machine looks good. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the iCrafters do it. Like, whenever they build like their fancy redstone machines, they also decorate it, they also design it and make it look really nice on the outside as well as function well. It's very important you get like a mesh between the two, and there's tons of YouTubers who do this really well. Like Etho does this like phenomenally well. All of his machines look aesthetically pleasing from the outside, and they have a good form and a good function, which is definitely, it's somewhat difficult to come by sometimes. It's not always the easiest thing to do. I myself struggle with it every once in a while, especially when it comes to redstone machinery, just because I'm not really like good at that sort of type of Minecraft. So whenever that happens to me, I usually just get flustered, and then yeah, that's sort of where that goes. But that's my opinion on that. You need to keep form and function together. So if you don't know how to do that, it's definitely like a skill in Minecraft that really separates the good survival players from the great survival players. You know what I mean? Like it's really important overall. So trying to learn how to do that is still something I'm learning as well, and hopefully, you know, I'll get better at it as time goes on. And okay, here we go. We gotta get rid of the ghost block. But that's definitely, you know, a thing that I think a lot of people struggle with if you don't play a ton of survival Minecraft. And it's arguably, I think in my opinion, the thing that'll make or break like cool worlds and make or break that sort of thing. But we're gonna use a lot of prismarine in this tunnel, as I said before. And I'm not really 100% sure, I don't really have an idea going into this tunnel, like what's the actual plan outside of the block palette. But what I do know is we're using a ton of prismarine because we have a guardian farm on the server, a community guardian farm, and I figured since we have so much prismarine on the server, and it's such a block I don't usually build with because on like all my single player worlds and beforehand stuff, I never really built guardian farms, I never really like explored ocean temples all that much. So having access to prismarine on the iCraft SMP is exactly why I want to build with it so much. It's because I have so much access to it that I've never really had, you know what I mean? In a sense, but we're gonna go like that. There we go. So I think what I want to do here is I want to go for a design like this. Like it's gonna go up and down the prismarine. Just constantly going up and down along the wall here just to create a nice flow, because we don't want to overuse this block. Like it's got such a nice shade of blue-green, which I really like the color and I think it's gonna work well with what we're going for, but we gotta be smart with it. If we use it like all the time, this block will quickly become overused and the palette won't look all that nice overall, because you gotta have a mixture of different blocks here. And then also, as soon as I get a chance to dump a ton of this netherrack, I will be, because it's too much netherrack. Like, I don't need all this netherrack. I already have a nether shop which sells tons of netherrack, so. And okay, there's a ton of these guys getting in the way. So we're gonna need to prevent spawns in here, obviously. Or do something along those lines. But for now, let's just get the general gist of the design here. We're gonna go a little something like that. There we go. That works pretty good. Let's throw out a ton of netherrack over here. Just toss it all right through there. Good. But see, this is what I was talking about. See how fast you get from point A to point B? Look at how quick this is compared to just walking on the ground. That's one of the main reasons we're doing this, is how fast that actually goes. Like, that's crazy efficient, which is a huge helper with quickly getting to the end and getting back. Because a lot of people on the iCraft server, they go there just to mend up their tools. And then it's a lot quicker to do that if the tunnel, you know, is fast. Because, like, most people don't go to the end because they want to. They go to the end because they need to mend up their tools with the enders. So, by making this quick, it's just a nice little convenience factor that I think people on the iCraft server will appreciate. We're gonna go like that. Like this. We're gonna keep this design going here. Now, of course, this area here is gonna be a tiny bit annoying to build just because there was like a hole in the wall, but it's fixed. So yeah, this is just, it's kind of got like a scale design almost, if you can see where I'm thinking here. Like each of these is kind of like a triangle or a scale off like a beast or something. I'm not 100% sure yet if that's the best way of explaining it, but you'll see what I mean. Like this is a nice tileable design technically. So looks pretty good if you ask me. And I know at the end it doesn't technically form a triangle like the last ending one, but I'm okay with that. I'm not really too concerned with it just because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things how the front here like works, you know what I mean? As long as it keeps a semi makes sense flow, it'll be all that really matters. Alright, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the next block I want to build, which is going to be the end stone brick. We're gonna throw end stone brick like this just all throughout this level here, and that should hopefully be pretty good. Here we go. And just keep going across like so with the end stone brick, because the end stone brick just gives a brick texture, just creates like a bottom element here that works pretty darn nicely. Now we are going to need more of this. We also need to incorporate lighting, and I think I have a good solution for lighting, so that should be a relatively simple fix. Now we are going to probably want to go grab some other things, but let's quickly get over here and give me, oh, I have a shulker box on me with all this, of course I do. Give me this, boom. That should be quite handy, if you ask me, so let's keep on going here. But as you can see, we're already incorporating some end elements into this, which I like, because you need to have, you know, in your end portal, if the end isn't really like a large element of it, you need to have elements of the tunnel that scream end. You know what I mean? Like when you walk through a tunnel, if you don't have signs, you still want to be able to know what portal you're walking through. And the only way you really can do that is by incorporating things like end rods and stone. So we're not going to be using any end rods personally, just because we're going to use sea lanterns to keep with the prismarine theme that we kind of have, like the prismarine sub theme that's going on in here. We're going to keep that alive. So we're going to go like this and keep on going across, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this part up here with the end stone bricks, and then I'm going to go grab some glass, because we're going to need some glass or some paint or something along those lines. Alrighty, so instead of using panes, I decided we're going to go with iron bars, just because I don't know what color glass I would want to use, so we're going to stick with the iron bars instead, just because we also have them a lot more accessibly on the server, again, because we have an iron farm, a community iron farm, so we can use that. We technically have two, actually, because Koi also has one, but it's not as effective as the one we have at spawn. But either way, we have a ton of iron bars that we can use, like multiple, you know, we have a heavy amount of them, essentially, what I'm trying to say. So if we want to use them, we can. Now, the next step here is, you see in here, we're going to poke a hole, throw one of these in here. Now the thing is that breaking the netherrack is super quick, so doing this is not really that efficient in the grand scheme of things, because like when you break it, you almost break 2 blocks, and sometimes you misclick the sea lantern or something along those lines. But here we go. We're just gonna, you know, work this kind of design in here, get the lighting. We're gonna get a ton of lighting in this, because we'd rather have more lighting than less, you know what I mean? I think that in this kind of a design, we need to keep a pattern going, and the best way to keep a pattern going is just keep everything, you know, very simple. So doing things like this with lighting and like pretty much every so often is quite nice. And then we're gonna run down here and add iron bars across here, just to get those kind of flowing and going in there as well. Definitely seems fairly nice overall, and it works out quite well. So we're gonna go like this and go like this, and just keep on going down here with iron bars. And yeah, okay, we'll have a ton of extra iron bars after this, but that's okay. And then now we have to do the same thing on this side here, and then we gotta figure out the roof and the rest of these walls, and then we'll be all done with the end nether portal tunnel, which looks pretty good already, if you ask me. I think that it's already coming out semi-well, and I think using the prismarine is kind of a unique idea that I don't think a lot of people would do. I think they would generally use it for, you know, things such as maybe the portal to the ocean monument or something, but not to the end portal. But we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna try to be a little different here, so we are gonna go like this, just up and down with these, and yeah, that should be pretty good. Especially because sea lanterns, I have like multiple shulker boxes full of them, so you know, using them like in this large quantity like this isn't really causing me any like material issues at all, so I might as well just, you know, keep on keeping on with using them. And here we go, just running on down here. Again, putting this ice on the ground, oh my gosh, so useful. Having all of this ice here really does make a pretty big difference in the grand scheme of things. I think it's quite helpful for speed purposes. Boom. Alright, next. Now we gotta figure out what we want to do with the upper halves, which is a bit of the thing. I haven't really thought about the upper half elements here yet, although this is already looking pretty good when you run on down it. I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a slabbed roof, because then you can actually do the jumping pretty effectively. So we're going to slab the roof in here, and that should hopefully work fairly well. Just keep on, you know, throwing slabs like so. You can't see up there. Okay, good. So I'm trying to slab down like so. And then you'll see in a second why we're using these slabs here. I know what you're thinking, like, why use slabs, you know what I mean? Why make this thing only 2.5 blocks? But you'll see in a second, because the way the packed ice mechanics work, doing this is, like, heavily efficient towards the overall speed. And again, we're, you know, form and function. You gotta make sure both happen. And the slabs on the top will look okay, because they're made out of birch, which kind of matches the coloring a little bit. And then also there's the element of we need them for function purposes. Now, I'm thinking now I could have swapped all these iron bars out to birch fences, but I feel like that would have looked a little too clunky or a little too, like, big. I don't know if that's the right way of explaining it, but the depth and the width of the iron bars is a lot smaller than a fence. So if we didn't like, what's the proper terminology? If we didn't use the iron bars, it would have looked super, like, big, and we wouldn't have wanted it to look big like it would look. So we're just gonna dig back here because we gotta get these pigmen to back up. They need to back up now. So we're gonna go like this. Come on. Oh my gosh, where's that? Whatever. You know what? Good. There's just a lot of pigmen in this tunnel, and they're kind of messing with the building a bit. These pigmen, they are kind of getting in the way a bit, but we just keep on going on down like this. There we go. And here we go. Boom. Just keep on working down here. We're gonna need more slabs. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish slabbing this up because this will take a little second, and then I'll show off why we're slabbing everything. And this is why we did it. Look at how much faster using slabs is than even before, because these head hitters, they hit you down on the ground faster, and then you just propel forward even quicker. So it's beautiful. And honestly, I'm tempted to say we can just fill this in with these. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty good. We can just fill it in with regular prismarine, and that should be a good enough design. Now, this regular prismarine, it changes colors. Like, look at the purples here, and it switches over to blue, and then to other colors. So just watch it. If anybody doesn't know, it has an animated texture. I mean, a lot of Minecrafters know that, but not everybody does. So you notice, see how it's more blue now? It's gonna keep on changing, and I kind of like the color changing idea just for the tunnel. I like that. I think that'll work. Just add some other color into the build, you know what I mean? Because, like, it's a lot of blues and a lot of beige yellow, or like a really kind of awkward shade of yellow. So, see, and now it's getting more greenish. And yeah, that's the one. I think this one blends in the best with, of course, the prismarine brick, but it's all good. And we're gonna go like this, and we just keep on throwing this in here, and it looks pretty good. And then we'll see how the tunnel looks like as you're going through it, because that's the big thing with these tunnels is, I mean, I know you're only gonna be going through this for a very short period of time, just because of how fast all the head jumps and the, you know, packed ice actually is. But for the very small time you're walking through this thing, you know what I mean? It should look good. That's definitely a thing. I know it's relatively flat, but again, I want to keep it relatively flat just so players who are running through it don't, like, you know, accidentally jump into a wall that's more bent or something along those lines. Like anything that could have essentially negatively impacted the overall speed of this thing is just overlooked and just, like, straight up not, like, used. So we're gonna throw that there, and this here, and then that's that. But now let's see how it looks, because it works pretty good. So let's see. Let's get all the way down. We can't look at it yet. We gotta wait until we get all the way to the beginning and walk in like we're, like, brand new to using the tunnel. And we're gonna see how it would look. Okay, so, and we're gonna start back at the beginning. So you come right through here. This is the spawn portal. So you come right through one of these at spawn. You go down the blue tunnel here, which has diamond blocks in the wall. Yes, iCrafters are insane. But you walk on through here, and you just keep on walking and walking and walking and talking until we get down over to the... Dang, this takes forever. To the end portal. Alrighty. I like the way it looks. Let's see how it feels. Pretty nice. I like it. It is pretty good. There is a lot of the prismarine in this. Like a lot of prismarine. But I think it works. And then I also like these sea lanterns behind the portals. I think that all the iCrafters should do that realistically. It looks really nice. But that is going to do it for today's episode of the iCraft SMP. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in another episode. Peace.